Welcome, everybody. It is Wednesday, my guys. My name is Dean.
And my name is Tyler, and we're bringing you a very special episode all about the LCS today.
Yeah, normally we'd be going over patch notes, but you literally texted me, and I was like, oh, shit, wait, they had a holiday yesterday.
Yeah.
So, push back a day.
That.
So, at the time you guys are listening to this is Wednesday morning, or sometime on Wednesday. Patch notes will be coming out tomorrow on Thursday.
Yes.
So, get stoked for that. And then champ review on Friday. But today, if you guys have been living under a rock or you just don't give a shit about Pro League of Legends, there's a lot of stuff going on in LCS, the North American League. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Basically, or before that, let me just shout out the YouTube, get that out of the way, because we like doing that.
Of course.
So guys, come on over to, check us out. I'm going to do it with you guys. So search According to Low Elo. Boom.
According to
Boom, look at that. We're right at the top, the first, and come over here, guys, subscribe, come check out the gameplay series, check out all the episodes, check out all the shorts. We're getting some love all over the place, and we appreciate it. We're still waiting for people to send us some gameplays. We always talking about we want to do some commentaries on that.
Sure.
I think it was last week where I mentioned it. Maybe for my birthday in July, we'll do another stream where we can have a bunch of people up for custom games, and Tyler and I can cast again, because that was a lot of fun.
Those were so fun to do last time. So yeah, more of those. You guys seem to like them a lot too. So
right. So we'll be locking down a day for that, and we'll figure that out and let you guys know in advance when that's gonna happen. So okay. So yeah, that's out of the way. Cool.
Okay.
Cool.
YouTube, TikTok down.
Yeah. So basically what happened earlier this month is Riot announced that LCS teams, before it was like mandatory that they needed to home an academy team. Is academy and challenger the same thing, right?
NACL, the Challengers League, also includes academy teams, and I think it also includes amateur teams, which is why they didn't call it an academy league. I
think amateur is one step below.
Right, but I think that... Let me see what NACL...
Because it was like... Because they were talking about, what was it, Team Tony Top? There was like another amateur team that this came into fruition. They won, and then academy, no one wants to pick them up.
Right.
Same thing with like Marysville.
Yeah, Maryville, that's the collegiate team for amateurs. So I know that amateurs have a shot to actually make it into academy.
Right.
There's what they call provisional teams, and then there's actual like the challenger teams. So obviously you have the league teams, the challenger teams, 100 Thieves, CLG, C9, Dig, yada yada yada. Even though Dig isn't in the league, whatever. You get my point. And then you have provisional teams like the Cincinnati Fear, CLG Faith, Fly Fam, AoE Gold, and these are more of your amateur style teams. And then you have the collegiate teams that can actually make it into, it's called Path to LCS as part of the whole thing. And so the goal of that is to try to find and hone North American talent to play in our league. That way we're not importing talent all across the board, spending a shit ton of money and getting poopy returns, i.e. Sword Art.
Perks,
Sword Art.
Yep.
Finn.
Exactly.
Name an import that played shittily, and then name the few that have played really well, right? I mean, you have some go ahead.
I was gonna say that's what I'm gonna get at. We're not completely against imports. Like some of the best imports,
they're naturalized now.
Well, I guess Impact's been here long enough.
Yeah, say Impact, Core JJ.
Core JJ is the big one.
Gerdson technically was an import at the time.
Right. They're here. And but a lot of the times they just get these aka Liquid. Team Liquid is the one that does this, where they spend a shit. TSM did, but they ran out of fucking money.
Yeah. FTX, baby.
Yeah, they would just bring in these players that, like, or even, what's his name? What was the jungler for DRX that came over?
Oh, Pioshik?
Pioshik, yeah. Like, I was like, oh my god, this is the guy that just won Worlds.
Yeah.
Dog shit.
Yeah.
So we really, NA needs more NA talent I think Blabber is probably one of the best right
Sure.
now. Obviously, JoJo is fucking insane, and he's so young. But yeah, the whole point of Academy was to bring in these players. Obviously, it probably would be very rare for a nobody to just immediately get promoted to LCS, right?
Right.
So that's the whole point of Academy. So we're going to bring them in. We're going to develop them. Because even if they're really fucking good at the game, transitioning, I'm guessing because I'm dog shit at the game, right? Transitioning from solo queue to a pro setting is probably a gigantic leap. And there's so many more things you need to figure out. And obviously you're going to be working with coaches. You're going to be working with people that might not see the game as you do. But that's, you got to live in a team environment, right? So Riot had a mandatory LCS teams must have Academy teams. And they promised, I think it was a Travis video, it was a few years ago, I think it was when franchising came in, that they promised that they were going to be able to uphold this and continue doing this to make sure that players are being developed, blah, blah, blah. So, the beginning of this month, guess what? They said, nope, you don't need to have Academy teams anymore.
Well,
this 7 teams.
I was going to say, the part of the problem that this came out of was they told us, there was all these rumors behind the scenes of like, oh, they're going to get rid of Academy, or they're going to get rid of the requirement to have Academy teams, yada, yada, yada. Riot came out and said, we're not going to get rid of that requirement. And then not even a week later, they said, so we're getting rid of that requirement. It's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, because I think the team owners just like bullied them into doing it.
Oh yeah. The orgs are definitely at fault here.
Right. I mean, Riot's also still at fault because
Them
they
also.
gave into the demands.
Absolutely.
So 7 teams dropped their Academy team, just like that. I think the only ones that kept it were C9, FlyQuest, and Golden Guardians.
No, Golden Guardians got rid of theirs.
Okay, I know it was C9 and FlyQuest.
Yeah, I have to look at it.
So yeah, 3 teams just
left,
and their reasoning is like, oh, you know what, Academy, the whole system in general probably needs to get fixed. I know a lot of people, especially, I don't know if you've listened to The Dive or if you've listened to Hotline last night.
Yeah.
It was fucking great. Academy definitely needs to get like fixed, and it has its own problems. But the fact that 7 teams fight 35 players just got dropped, and a lot of these kids are coming out of high school. They're not going to college. Their dream is to play this game professionally. They moved to LA because I think it was required that you have to live in LA to participate in these, and
which is not a cheap place to live.
Right, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So they're told to sign leases to live down here. And guess what? Oh, you're out of a job. And the other big issue is a lot of these players were not giving a notice. Like, it was just when it got tweeted out or when it got revealed. They're like, oh, I'm finding out right now on Twitter, not my manager or my coach, etc. So it fucking sucks.
It really sucks. Like, I feel bad for these kids because these are kids, man. Like, I'm 30, you're almost 30.
I'm 30.
Sorry, I'm 31. You're almost 31 is where I was going.
I'll take it almost 30. You're right. I'm not 30.
we're in our 30s, and like,
we're boomers.
You have to put ourselves back to when we were 18, right? When I was 18, like, there was no way in hell I was moving to LA to go play video games. I can tell you that right now. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of these kids have, like you said, have delayed their college entry, delayed other career aspirations for the opportunity to try to make this game work as a career. The signing of the not cheap leases, some of these, I don't know what their financial situation is from their parents' background, but obviously these kids aren't making that much money because there isn't really, I don't think there's a guaranteed, or if there is a guaranteed challenger, it's not very high. Right.
It was like $1,000 a month.
Right. And so these kids are having to live on the goodwill of the org for food and entertainment outside of practicing to get better to maybe potentially once land on a team. And there's only a few players that have actually made it out of that rut. So, I mean, Vulcan being one of them, probably the most successful one.
JoJo.
Tenacity's been up and down. You don't know what you're going to get because they talked so highly about Tenacity. That guy came up and got
he had a really bad... Did you hear about the really bad take he had?
I think so. I don't remember what it was, though.
They said, well, after all the shit with Academy is happening, they said the best for up and coming players, the best thing you can do now is move to Europe and compete in the ERLs. And we're like, no one's gonna fucking move to Europe at that age or have that money to do that. It was a really bad take. I understand, but like, yeah, it was a bad take. So they're getting paid very minimal, and I think it was another Travis video where he's talking about like some of these players even have part-time jobs just to try to stay afloat. Right. Yeah, for funds, but then they also have to be practicing X amount of times a week. It's crazy.
But no, NA players are lazy.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So that happened at the beginning of the month, and all hell was broken loose within like the last 2 weeks. Oh, first
really
of all, that happened
3 days, 2 days,
right.
3 days.
Because last week they were talking about planning the walkout, and then on Sunday they voted like almost. It wasn't. It said like overwhelmingly majority voted yes. So the players are planning a walkout to protest the removal of Academy, because like it just seems like Riot can do with a snap of their finger. They can do whatever the fuck they want at any time, and. Sure, you know, you have some players that are like Double Lift or whoever's another hot player, Vulcan, JoJo. Right. Like, okay, sure, maybe their jobs aren't in danger, but who fucking knows what happens, right? So the Players Association, I think the guy's name is Phil. Did you listen to the hotline this week?
Philip Aram.
Awesome, that dude's awesome.
Yes, yes.
They had a vote to protest. LCS is supposed to start. We'll get to this in a second. June 1st on Thursday, but they were going to protest, and the players were not going to play.
Yes, and they were trying to convince anybody to not scab and play in their place. Riot actually, as of Monday night, had dropped the rank requirement to play so they could fill slots on a team, while the LCSPA, the Players Association, was actively, and Phil particularly was actively trying to reach out to each member he could to tell them, hey, don't play for this, because if you play, it's just going to undermine the movement we're trying to do. So a lot of the challenger players weren't going to play, and then they were reaching out to amateur players, and they weren't going to play. However, you know, if LCS wanted to grab some, or if an org wanted to grab players off Craigslist, I guess they could.
Yeah, ranked requirements were dropped, so people all over the internet were just memeing like, "Oh, sick! I'm bronze 3, no problem, hire me." But what I think realistically happened, and I was like, because I was reading a lot of it, what I think was going to happen is their coaching staff was going to play.
Right, I think that's what I was hearing a lot too.
Because I mean, I don't think a lot of the coaching staff aren't good, but they're probably like Diamond. But the difference between Diamond and Challenger is fucking bigger than Mount Everest.
It's a gap for sure.
And then Challenger, whatever. So I think it was just gonna be, hey, like we're gonna substitute our coaches in or whatever.
Right.
So that was Monday night of this week on the 29th. And what we're gonna get to in a little bit for this episode is Tyler and I are gonna, and this is all parody. We do not support people crossing the picket line. Quote,
we have no intent to scab.
Right.
To put it easily, but we've got our audition tapes.
Yeah, we got our resumes. We're gonna pitch the teams. I didn't suggest this. Maybe we can talk about what team we want to join.
Oh, I'll join any
in particular.
Team that would take me.
I know you want to be on TSM though, because they're leaving next year too.
Sure. I want to get yelled at I want to get screamed at by Reggie.
That dude jerks off all day. Okay,
yes,
and
he does.
So that's what we're gonna get to in a little bit. But as of today, we're recording this. How long ago?
My God, sorry, no, that was just funny and so out of pocket. But holy shit,
it's true.
Sorry, I'm sorry. Like I'm so hung up on that because.
Allegedly, should I say
allegedly? Allegedly.
Serial masturbator. So as of this afternoon, it was reported that Riot is telling teams to. So it was Arsh, the from NA Men.
Yeah.
I was reading this. So read what he reported here.
Arsh. Oh, let me pull it up. I don't have it pulled up. Okay. It says Riot just told teams to pay scabs way more per game. Teams were trying to pay scabs about $800 per game because $75,000 league minimum for 12 months, 8 games per month is about $800. Riot just told teams they have to pay $2,000 per game because $75,000 by 36 game days, it comes out to $2,000. So one thing that we didn't mention about the whole situation is that, like, I know we put a lot of onus on Riot and some onus on the teams, but part of it is that they were overspending and not getting any money out of these challenger teams. So, like, for an organization, it makes sense. Like, hey, this isn't bringing me any money or any talent. I'm getting nothing from this academy situation here. Which, okay, from a business standpoint, you're like, yeah, we need to get rid of that and move on. So, like, that kind of makes sense. And Disguised Toast, I know, had put out his income statement with all the money he's losing for having a challenger team, but he doesn't care. He wants to try to save the scene. One
thing I'll say to the, they were like, okay, we're not getting a return on this investment for Academy, get rid of it. But at the same time, you got Team Liquid spending $40 million on a training facility that doesn't fucking get used.
Yep. They're not putting in the effort in the right places. I think a lot of... And it's not just them. I mean, TSM...
Sure. Well, Liquid is just the...
But Liquid for sure. TSM and Liquid are like the two that like built this big-ass fucking facility and then doesn't really get used by their LCS teams. I think it gets used by their other esports teams, right?
So it's very contradictory that they're like, oh, we're spending way too much, which... I'm sure they were not spending... What was the minimum requirement? They said it was $75K?
$75,000 a year, which is not a lot in LA, but like in other parts of the United States, that's a lot of fucking money for some people.
So yeah, because the math, I think, came down... Or was it... We're going to get to what they responded. So basically, Riot came out and said, look, we're not doing the scabs because LCS is being postponed 2 weeks. This is like as of 2 hours ago. Just under 3 hours ago.
Right, and which sucks because I really wanted to see Trick TG play top lane.
Oh my god, Trick was saying he's going to bust out the dog and breach the gates. He's got 13 years experience. Love that shit. Yeah, because that was the other thing. They were like, you don't even have to be in studio. You can play from wherever the fuck you live.
Yeah. They pulled out all the stops, dude.
Crazy. So yeah, as of, or a couple hours ago, as we're recording this on Tuesday, they said, no, look, what's going to happen is... LCS is going to be postponed for 2 weeks while they continue to negotiate with the Players Association to come to an agreement to move forward. So that's where we're at right now. So I'm going to bring up on screen here. So this is what Riot's update is.
It's a pretty long update, to be honest.
We'll try to... I'm more interested on the demands part. There's 5. The Players Association had 5 demands that they want to make sure Riot agrees to. But basically, they said it's pretty much a big FU.
100%.
They claim first and foremost we support players, we also support teams, and we believe more than ever in the LCS. Yeah. Then why the fuck did you get rid of on the drop of dime the academy scene? That does not sound like you support players.
Right.
Then they said we also believe in tier 2 development system, which is that academy?
I think so. Yeah, because tier 1 would be the LCS teams, right?
Sure, and then tier 3 is amateur, like below.
Right.
Okay. So it says Riot is okay. Blah blah blah. It will take shifts in lead. So to help the North America scene through this transition, we've decided to give our NACL partner Rally Cry. I don't know who the fuck that is. An additional $300K in order to jumpstart the 2023 NACL season next week. This funding is in addition to the revenue share to the NACL teams we announced last week. So, like, there was how many teams are in the NA or the academy now? Because there's the 3 that stayed. Toast
1,
team,
2, 3,
right?
4, 5, 6.
Marysville.
10 teams.
So
AOE
they
Gold,
filled it back
Cincinnati
in.
Fear, yeah, Toast, EG Challenger, Fly Challenger, TL Challenger, Maryville, Supernova, Team Fish Taco, and Wildcard Gaming.
Incredible.
I love Fish Taco, dude. That's great.
I should see what is Rally Cry.
I don't know. I've never heard of Rally
Esports
Cry.
for everyone. Let's see. Is it dedicated? What is this?
Oh, Team Fish Taco has Dardock on it. Whoops.
It's your boy.
They're not getting very far.
We design, host, and operate epic esports competitions from single-day tournaments to multi-month long. Okay, so it's whatever is hosting, I'm assuming.
Okay.
So they're giving them $300K. Which
Okay.
among 10 teams does not sound like that much.
No, 10 teams, and then some of these teams have their subs. Well, Maryville probably, because it's a collegiate team, is the only one that doesn't really, because it's a college, probably doesn't pay their players all that much.
Oh, probably not.
You got to get into, there's a whole fucking political bullshit there that I'm just not willing to get into because I don't know. And I
Right.
could be wrong. I don't know what if they do or don't pay their players, so don't hold me to that. But knowing that it's a college, they probably don't. So take that for what it's worth. But still, if you're gonna take $300,000 and give it to
10 teams. It's 30K.
30K, yeah, and then you're gonna
Five
pay
people.
5 to 10 pplayers because subs, right,
Yep. Minimum 6K.
and
Then-
coaches
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
and a administrative staff.
You're not getting shit. It's
right.
nothing.
As I say, and bear in mind, EG, FlyQuest, and TL have their own money already. I don't know how much money Cincinnati Fear has. Disguised Toast, he's an influencer. He's got money.
Right.
But Supernova, Fish Taco, AoE Gold, Wild Card. I'm not worried about Maryville. They're a college. They got their own fucking money. But the rest of these teams, like, what are they gonna do with 30K? That's less than half of a person's salary. That is the poverty line,
Yeah.
and you need to spread that between probably 10 players. So you're talking, here's $3,000, guys.
So,
Like,
okay. So,
what the fuck is that gonna do?
It's a big fuck you.
Right.
So again, they
Fuck
said
you.
to make sure we live up to the quality we've promised fans, we're delaying the LCS season for 2 weeks. And again, the whole reason that they were going to have scabs come in is because these teams, the orgs were had obligations to compete because they're
Right.
basically a product, right? They got to be put on the stream. They have sponsors. Riot has sponsors, so they would be fined if they didn't have players playing. So then they're like, okay, whatever, just fill the teams. So now they said they are. So let's see. While last week we immediately put a good blah 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 blah. Hopefully this 2-week window will give us time for productive dialogue between the LCSPA teams and the league, and then resume. The LCS will not be penalizing the teams for not fielding their rosters during this 2-week period to allow everyone space to focus on constructive dialogue. So okay, cool, great. That'd be you know what? Fuck this. They should be fining the teams.
Yeah.
They should be fining them. Well, it doesn't matter because they're whatever.
Apparently they
suck.
don't have money anyway, so I guess it doesn't really fucking matter.
Yeah, 300K.
Right.
So then we come to the very interesting part of this. Delaying beyond the 2-week window would make it nearly impossible to run a legitimate competition. And in that case, we would be prepared to cancel the entire LCS summer season. Carrying this forward, if the LCS summer season is canceled, this will also eliminate LCS teams qualifying for Worlds. Like, holy shit. They are ready to fucking... They're ready to go to the grave. They're going to bring everybody with them. They're
Yeah.
so fucking stubborn, dude.
Well, like I said from the last part, which is why I think it's important, is like, I know we can sit here and shit on Riot and blame Riot, but a lot of this is also the org's faults too, right?
Sure.
For making bad investments. So when Riot's sitting here saying, we're prepared to just delay this, to not let you guys even go to Worlds, because this is partially your doing too. And I think they're right in that regard. Now, don't get me wrong, I think that fucking sucks. It would suck to not have a representative. I mean, we'll just get knocked out in knockouts
It doesn't
group
matter.
stage anyway, so it doesn't fucking matter. But to not have a representative over something like this is shitty. But like I said, I think that this is a 3-headed problem. There are, the players themselves are also at fault for commanding such high salaries, but then the orgs for giving in and not negotiating any of this shit. So there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. Like we mentioned, the expensive imports, the facilities, all that shit costs a lot of fucking money. And they got all this great money from the get go when they had Red Bull and Alienware and HTC.
That's what I was gonna. Another point with sponsors is, could you imagine? Not only, oh shit, we're not having a summer split. How much money these orgs are gonna lose from the sponsors? There's a lot of teams that, in the winter when they're making their oh my god, they're winning Worlds roster, right?
Right.
They're promising these sponsors, hey, we're going to make it to the World Championship this year, guaranteed with this roster.
Right.
And then if they don't deliver on that, they're fucked. They're never going to be able to do business with them again. So it's, it's fisting them.
Yeah, like I said, it's a whole problem that involves really all three parts. I think the least of most is the players, even though they kind of had allowed this to happen on its own without actually pushing back and having some forethought. But they're the players, they're not the organizations, they're in control of themselves, not money for everybody else. So a lot of that onus should be on the orgs and on Riot, which it is, which I think most of it is. And the players are willing to sacrifice, they have their skin in the game, they're willing to sacrifice their jobs. They're not a union. This is just a collective bargain without a unionization. They don't have representative beyond the Players Association. They don't carry lawyers with them, I don't think, because I don't think the LCSPA can afford that. And so yeah, they're not out to do. Remember, this is a walkout, not a strike. There is a bit of a difference. I mean, all strikes are walkouts. All walkouts are not strikes. Yeah, that's what he said, right? Right. And he's right. He's 100% right. So just bear that in mind, that this is something that Riot's doing because they're not a union. This is like a union busting tactic, right? It's like, well, you guys can't do that because you're not going to go to Worlds. And everyone's like, what the fuck does that mean? Can we just play less games and still qualify? Which they totally fucking could, but
So yeah, and the biggest thing a highlight, and then we're going to get to what the Players Association, the demands they're making. A lot of these players, like I mentioned this earlier, a lot of these players' jobs aren't on the line. Or they are now because they're protesting, but they're standing up for the people that won't get an opportunity, to become a pro.
They're putting their jobs on the line for those that have lost theirs.
Yeah, and that's fucking insane. That's incredible. Love it. So let's move on here to their demands. So there was 5 demands that were asked, and only one of them was agreed to so far. Again, we have 2 weeks. And hopefully you can help me with this, because I know you were a business major, so there's some weird shit in here that you can explain to me.
Yeah, sure.
So the first one is they said institute Valorant style promotion and relegation between LCS and NACL. I'm assuming this means how it was before franchising, where the 2 worst teams, was it 2? The 2 worst teams will get put into relegation, and an academy squad can rise up to challenge them for their spot.
Right.
And obviously with franchising, that went away because, I explained what franchising like.
So here, this is their response. This is Riot's response, right?
Sure.
So the expanding the league in order to implement a Valorant-style visitor slot system would run counter to our existing partnership model with the 10 LCS teams who paid about $10 million per slot to compete in the league. It would dilute LCS teams' equity and put considerable downward pressure on the amount of revenue, our league revenue pool, that we share with the teams. More teams in the pool would dilute the revenues that we share 50% with our teams under the partnership model. Given the challenging macroeconomic climate, expanding the league is not a good idea at this time. So they have a point. They convinced Riot to start a franchising system. In said franchising system, it costs each team $10 million to have a position in the league to play. Roughly about $10 million. I don't know what the exact figure is, but somewhere in there, right? Which means that there's a $100 million pool. $50 million of that they share with the teams in a I don't know how they do their revenue sharing. I don't know if it's a share based on viewership or sponsorship or whatever, or if there's probably a mixture. I'm sure some of that's wrapped up in the tournament, for whoever wins, first, second, third place, and places. You know what I mean? I know that money gets awarded accordingly, and then there's probably some of that is just other, like, hey, this is how much we got. You guys get this much of a cut. Baseball is very good at that. Football is very good at that because, they run the stadiums and whatnot, and they have their TV deals. Obviously, you're probably not going to get a TV deal for LCS. It's just not that big. You're talking a 36 team baseball league is far, far larger in terms of revenue and all that than LCS is. So you're probably not going to get TV deals and whatnot. But they might make some extra money on sponsorship deals and whatnot that go back into that pot that's, again, to get spread around, split 50-50 with Riot, because Riot needs to make money for facilitating and running the league. Now, Riot could take less. 50-50 is a lot for one organization to get 50 and the other 10 organizations to get the remainder of the 50. That's a lot, right? Could go down to a 30-70 to try to funnel more money back in. But I don't know what Riot's operating costs are, and I'm not sure what their margins are. So it's hard for me to speculate too much on that. But that is one option to kind of help save some money in the areas. Like, hey, maybe we as Riot take a little bit less to give a little bit more to the teams, because this is what's making the money. You know, if we don't have a league, we make zero money, right? If we do have a league, we make something. Even if we take less of a cut, we still make money. So, like, that's a fucking option right there. I know I understand the relegation thing. A lot of people have been clamoring for relegation. I remember in the past, there was like 3 or 4 teams that were always the top of Challenger, but really weren't good enough to play LCS teams.
I mean, if we're talking like Dignitas or Immortals, I think they got to go.
Yeah, but they might still pummel an academy team, though. You know what I mean?
Well, that's what I was gonna ask. It says expanding the league, meaning more than 10 teams.
Well, so what they would do, I think, I'm not sure how Valorant works, but
that's because I tried looking that up and I couldn't.
I assume what they would do is they have like I would call it a temp slot. Basically, like, hey, you're waiting for your opportunity to get in the league. So, like, you're the 11th and 12th team. You're not competing in the split, but you're clearly above your academy team, and you're waiting to get in for when one team sucks bad enough or whatever. Can you have their spot? But like Riot is saying, that's not fair to the organizations that have paid their $10 million. The other teams did not pay their $10 million, which I totally understand. I think that's a fair point to make. I think it's a very fair point to make. That would be like taking the Oakland A's, which, by the way, is a great fucking analogy for how shitty Immortals is, like what Dean's saying. The Oakland A's are out. They're playing out the story of Major League, if anybody's ever seen that movie. And if you're not into baseball, just take a peek at their fucking record. I think they've won 11 games all year out of like 60 so far. It's fucking terrible. It's unfortunate, and it's awful, and it's all the owner's fault. So, if you took the Oakland A's and said, you know what? I'm fucking tired of watching you guys fucking suck. You guys clearly don't want to fucking play ball. So I'm going to grab a AAA team. I don't know too many AAA teams, so I'm just going to go with the Giants AAA. I believe it's the River Cats, the Sacramento River Cats. And we're going to put them in your position, and you're going to get demoted, and you're going to be the farm system that they kind of are anyways. The Oakland A's would throw a hissy fit, a massive hissy fit, because they've paid all this money, invested all this money. The amount of money that AAA teams bring in is far inferior to the amount of money that Major League teams bring in, because to go to a AAA game, it costs like $10 a ticket, you know? It's fucking nothing. $10 a ticket. Their concessions aren't jacked up sky high. And they don't sell out their ballparks, and their ballparks only seat a few thousand people, you know? In most cases, their ballparks are maybe 15,000 seats, and you're not going to sell out 15,000 seats at a AAA game unless you have a superstar playing in some sort of recovery game, or a couple of them, you know. And even then, you're probably still not selling that out. So you could turn around as the A's and say, you know, we may not be selling a whole lot of tickets, but fuck, we've made a lot of money for this league. How the hell can you justify sending us down to that region where they don't make money for you guys, you know? And so I think it's the same idea here with this, with what Riot is saying is, like, it's not fair for these people to have invested so much money only to be kicked out and not have the opportunity to sell their spot to the team that beat them, you know? And maybe that's how you fix it. Sell your spot to the team that beat you.
But I feel like they're not going to sell. They're not going
to have enough fucking money. The team that beat you isn't going to have enough money to pay for it, so it's going to come back and be like nothing.
It just seems like franchising is just not working well for the league.
Right.
Is that fair to say?
I think so.
Well, they're claiming they're bleeding money.
Right. And so what teams are leaving LCS? Who
TSM and CLG?
Spot? No. No. Who just sold their spot recently? Was it
TSM?
it must have been CLG. TSM hasn't left yet.
NRG. Okay, yeah.
NRG bought it.
Yeah.
And how much did NRG pay for their... I think they paid 20 million or something like that. How much did NRG pay for
But I understand, like, if two challenger teams come in and then take out... So, so two teams leave, so it's 20 million, 10 million each, and then two come up, that 50% that's split is going to be even less now because those two teams aren't putting the 10 million in.
Right.
Right? Okay, so
Right.
I understand that. But I feel like, and we'll move on, maybe we just spend on this, but if you can figure out the price for what they sold it for.
I'm looking right now.
Oh, I just lost my train of thought. Fuck.
Shit, I'm
I had a
sorry.
really good point. No, I had a really good point. Fuck my ass sideways. God damn it. What was I going to say? What is the volatile? I feel like it's when I don't know much about negotiating, but I feel like you just have to shoot to the highest, right? You got to reach the tip top, and this is probably like the most extreme thing that they're demanding. One of the most, well, obviously these 5 things are the tip top, because then they're going to keep talking and they're going to figure out a better way to get in. Personally, I'm so sick of the same team being at there's no point. I feel like there's no fucking point for whether it be Immortals or Dignitas, just in 10th place every fucking year.
Right.
I don't give a shit about those teams.
They're so, like, annoyingly bad that it's like, can we get rid of them so we can actually get some other shit, you know?
Do you happen to find out the price?
I am still looking.
Okay. Well, I'll move on, and maybe if you find it, we find it. If not, it's whatever.
Of course, everything has a fucking ad. I don't want to see their fucking ads. Shit, man. I'll see if I can find it, yeah.
If not, we can add it in later.
I thought last I heard it was like $20 million. It was more than the 10 million that they paid in. I know that. Beyond that, I'll have to see if I can find it.
Because I'm on this esports website. Maybe that's the one you're looking at. It must have been.
I forgot that they were owned by Madison Square Garden.
Yeah. All right, we'll figure it out. Okay. Anyways, so let's move on. The second demand. Riot guarantees LCS minimum contracts for the following year for 5 players who win NACL Summer Finals. And this basically said, okay, these are the 5 best players. They should be given an LCS opportunity because they won, or at least being paid to do that. And Riot's like, no, because that's not how... So they said guaranteed LCS contracts for winners aren't a necessary component of a healthy development league. LCS teams are in the best position to decide who should get a shot. We will continue to discuss initiatives to connect LCS to NACL players. Like we have in the place with Scouting Grounds, players should rise to the LCS based on merit, potential, and team fit rather than artificially forced mechanism. And our focus will be on finding ways to increase the flexibility and mobility of that movement rather than forcing it. I can understand that. But what the teams, I feel like that's rarely going to happen when they're just buying imports, right?
Right.
That's happening way more than promoting someone. Again, we have JoJo, we had Vulcan. Those are like 1 or 2 of how many people that are in Academy.
Right, yeah, JoJo, Vulcan. One of the ones that came up, and he's no longer in LCS, he's back in EU, is Treats.
Okay.
Dokla. Your favorite, Revenge, I believe, was also an Academy player for a while.
I was trying to think of Prodigies, not Dumpster Fires.
Wow.
I mean, I understand that. It's not like... But I feel like the players should be... Because, like, even if they win the Academy... And they're not guaranteed anything. I feel like they're not going to be promoted. They're not going to be... It's like, oh, sick, I won the summer finals. What do I do now? Oh, you just go into the off season and play again next year. Right. And then get paid shit. And never go in... You're, like, stuck in limbo.
Well, so, for example, C9's Academy team was fielded... mostly of ex-LCS players. Like, so what is that doing for development, right? C9 had Fake God, Tomio, Diplex, Lost, and Zazel. Zazel was an academy player before he had originally come up to C9 and then wasn't good enough, so he went back down. But and Lost, he was originally an academy player as well, and obviously not good enough to stay in the pro scene. Tomio, Fake God, all these people are names that I've heard in the pro scene that just sucked, right? And so yeah, like how are you as an organization facilitating growth if you're just hiring ex professional players to play in your amateur league, basically? Like, what is that doing for
Development?
for development, right? It's not doing anything.
Those people are developed.
Right, and I was saying, these aren't people that are, like, young and, like, they put in maybe too early. Like, no, these guys had, like, a couple years in the LCS, and we're told, yeah, you're really not good enough, but you can play in this lower league, you know? So, like, that's kind of silly. That's like, MLB has a similar issue with guys that are in their farm league until they're like 30 years old and they've gone past their prime, so they're never really going to make it up to the MLB, you know, and they don't make jack shit. So it's very interesting that we're seeing the same thing here, except to a worse degree.
I like to think of it like in that point, it's like you have these like big names. Like I think, you know, Wild Turtle was in academy teams.
Yep.
It's like, I think if you're watching like wrestling and like Ric Flair, who's what, like 70 years old, comes back for like one match, but it's NXT. Not important at all. Yeah, something like that. And it's like, what the fuck? It's like, oh my god, Ric Flair's here.
Or putting John Cena in NXT. Like, what are we doing?
There's no point. Like, yeah, exactly. That's a really good comparison. Like, I've actually, because me and Ryan have actually been watching like NXT and wrestling again.
Sure.
And it's like all these people there. Yeah, NXT is the development league for WWE, and it's
I mean, it literally is short for next.
Right.
These are your next champion, your next superstars, as wrestling calls them. So, like, okay, I get it. You know, these really going to learn to be in front of a crowd. It's maybe not going to be quite as big as WWE Raw or SmackDown, but it's still going to be bigger than the backyard show, right? Well, there's plenty of those backyard shows, dude. Fuck. But yeah, no, I think it's the same kind of allegory, right? We're drawing parallels here through different sports or different entertainment groups for the same shit.
All right, so let's move on to the next one. So number 3, institute a 3/5 continuity rule to provide players on released NACL rosters first priority in maintaining their slots in the upcoming NACL season if a majority continue to compete together. Can you
give me a brief history on when 3/5 ever worked?
Okay, yeah, we already know.
Yeah. I don't really even understand what they're saying here, but it just sounds like a terrible idea.
Their explanation, it says, teams provide greater continuity and structure, and therefore we will continue with our policy of slot ownership residing with organizations rather than the players. So does that mean, does 3/5 mean like residents?
I have no idea what that means.
I'm very confused.
It's just saying, is it like if the rosters are released, like the teams get to keep their challenger slot?
Teams provide greater continuity and structure, and therefore we will continue with our policy of slot ownership residing. If anybody's listening,
I think maybe they're saying like, hey, if the players, if they get 3 out of the 5 players, they can form a team and take over that slot from the organization that dropped it. Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe that's what I'm understanding from that.
Okay. If anybody's, whoever's listening understands it better, I think that's the best shot we have at what this means. But let us know.
I would think so. Just to go back to that Cloud9, because I think there's a lot of players that might still try to play at Academy there, right? Yeah. If Zazel lost and Diplex decided that they still wanted to play on a team together, what the players want is for them to be able to start their own team, I think, and keep a slot where C9's challenger was or whatever, and rename it.
So so if the majority of that team wants to play together, they have the power to do that. But
I think that's what it's saying.
But Riot saying no, it's 100% up to the organization, the orgs, to control that.
I think I agree with that. I think I agree with Riot on that point. I think that makes a lot more fucking sense. Because there's money involved.
Folks, Tyler's a bootlicker. He wants to...
Well, I'm just thinking, like, how else would that work?
I know, but
So.
it basically it's giving the players more opportunities to do whatever the fuck they want. Maybe they're stuck and they want to get out of a TSM situation where they're in a dog shit org or something. But okay, that's understandable. Fourth one, Riot commit to a revenue pool for player salaries of $300,000 per NACL team per year. So again, earlier they said they're donating one rate of $300K, and we already did the math. So this is $300K for each team. So if there's 10 teams, $3 million, and if you're breaking that down, if there's 5 players, that's $60K, which I think is the minimum. Is what they were? Was that the minimum or no? Well,
I don't know what challenge.
I saw 60. I saw 60K or somewhere else. So let's see. Let's see. They responded. This ask is for multiple millions in subsidies for the NACL that simply isn't sustainable. And to be brutally honest, it shouldn't be necessary. We have other tier 2 leagues around the world which thrive on their own, and we believe the NACL can get to that place too. So, I mean, the second part of this, I'm like, so maybe let's look at like LCK's academy. I don't know what the fuck it's called.
Oh yeah, I have no idea.
But I'm like, or like in China, like, does it not make sense
LDL?
that their economy is different because there's probably way more people watching and more sponsorship opportunities versus here?
The game
I need your opinion on this.
The game is literally bigger in China and Korea than it is here. It literally has a bigger audience, which means it literally brings in more money, which means they can literally afford to pay more.
And I don't think, maybe I don't know this again. Are those organizations spending $40 million on a training facility?
I have no idea, but I would again just say probably not.
Are they? Yeah, like they're not wiping their ass with dollar bills, y'all.
Right.
So this is just like if Riot was like a dude, just like with like how I used to wear my pants up to my nipples, like in 5th grade. Like, just think of like a dad figure with like slacks on up to his chest. He's got a really tight belt on, some dumbass fucking like golf shirt on with like glasses, and maybe he's got a comb over. He's balding the fuck out, glasses, and he's just like, well, actually.
Oh, so 30-year-old Timmy Turner?
Sure, that's a good one. It's like, actually, we have leagues around the world that are able to do this, so why can't you guys do it? Because fucking Steve from Liquid is throwing money out the window.
Yes.
$3 million contracts on players on... I wonder, how much did he spend for Pioshik?
Oh, I have no idea. But
just
the
millions.
amount of money he spent on Core JJ is probably ridiculous.
At least Core JJ has been good.
Right,
Decently.
that's true.
Except for this year. They kind of Liquid took
I
shit.
think the whole team took a shit.
But
they
a lot,
tried to
again,
build a
like,
mini Korean team.
No, right, exactly. It just took a shit. But like, Perks came for a year, didn't get anything done. That was for $3 million
Or whatever it was.
just,
Yeah.
They're just, and Korea is not doing that because this is a whole nother conversation. Just because there's a bigger population of people playing League in Korea.
Right,
so
it's a cultural difference, right?
Exactly. Yeah, the culture is so different there. And that means more people are playing the game. They got bigger server sizes over there. Just like,
well, the barrier to entry to play this game in the United States is a lot higher than it is in in South Korea.
Jesus.
Wow, why did I fuck that up? I believe China and South Korea exist still. PC cafes that don't exist in the United States, right? Those were a major failure in the United States, and I remember going to one, and it was kind of cool, but like, if you didn't play the game really that was there, like, it was a major failure. Like, it was a waste of time. But also, it's way more expensive here than it is there. You used to have to pay like $7 an hour here, and so like that's like $7 per game of League of Legends if you think about it. Because it usually takes from the second you hit start queue to the second the game's over, you're looking at about 45 minutes time invested per Summoner's Rift game, if not more than that. So yeah, you're basically paying $7 per game, whereas in Korea it's like $1 for an hour or whatever it is, like the equivalent of that. It's
So
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to ask you a question here because I was curious about this. Obviously, China has a shit ton more people than North America.
Sure.
How many servers does NA have?
I think we just got one. I think China's got a couple, but China
how many
more.
How many servers do you think China has?
I have no idea. 3?
29 servers.
Holy shit.
So I guess what does that mean?
Lower
ping is low as shit.
Yeah.
Because you have even like the high elo or the pros that are just playing solo queue in Los Angeles, where the LCS takes place, they're on 60 ping.
Well, remember when the server used to be in LA?
It was we were sitting at like 30 40
something.
ping.
Yeah.
But still, like a lot of these people, a lot of those internet cafes, a lot of the pros are playing on like sub 10 ping. And
right.
Sure, when we're playing 60, like we're at like 55, 60, it's actually been going down a little bit.
It has.
We can't tell the difference. We're not like we're
not
insane at the game. Yeah, we're like, okay, this is fine. But like once you get down to that low of ping, you're gonna be able to react faster, you're gonna be able to do plays faster, you're gonna be able to just do everything better in real time. And for some fucking reason, NA only has one server. Why? And it's on the opposite side of the country as where the pros live.
Right. Well, it's technically like right in the middle of the country, but yeah, it doesn't help the pros.
It's in Chicago. Yeah.
But like
it does not help the pros.
No, it helps players in Canada, players on the East Coast. And I get it, but like why didn't you just build a second server over there instead of eliminating
just
the
do like a West Coast,
here?
East Coast. I don't
I know that I think all they use this server for in LA is for Challengers queue or what do they call it?
They have like a different. I think they use the tournament realm, which is.
Oh, okay. I figured they just use the old server that they used to use because the infrastructure. So I'm sure.
Maybe they might do that, or they might just have like a super private like server.
Yeah, it could be that too. Right.
A much smaller server, right?
I would assume they would just reuse the infrastructure they already have because why spend more money? But that's neither here nor there. Is why don't we just have another server? Why don't we have 3 at least? Like East Coast, Midwest, and West Coast or something. Like, wouldn't that just make fucking sense?
So back to the demand. They want challenger players to be able to get 60K minimum salaries. Because again, these kids are moving cross country. They're fresh out of high school, 16, 17, 18 years old, and they need to live and they need to make these contracts like 60. I don't make 60K a year. I think that is completely reasonable. And when we hear these players that get like $3 million contracts, there's teams get no return because that player just ends up being a donkey for some reason.
Yep.
Like 60K seems very reasonable.
Right.
And maybe Riot just can't bring in or just randomly have 300K appear, but like I think they could work on something to do that. I don't know.
We know the secret. What is the nuke that is Pool Party Ari?
Pool Party. It's got it, dude.
If they release Pool Party Ari, they can save the LCS.
Damn. You know what we should have
thought about how fucking ridiculous that is, but how probably true that is hilarious.
I know we already have the thumbnail promise for this, but how insane would it be to have my head on like a swimsuit Ari body and just have it say release
the savior
me.
Of the LCS.
Savior of the LCS. No, I don't know. It's we joke, but they're like, oh yeah, they're patting. What's that meme of like? Is it Obama giving himself the medal meme?
I think so.
But it's like, oh, we're giving the NACL all 10 teams a collective of 300,000. Thank you very much. Like they're just giving themselves a medal.
Yeah, just
patting themselves on the back.
Wipe your ass with $1 and you've already pissed away your portion of the 300,000.
That's
all I'm saying.
Dang, this is actually going longer than I thought, but this is awesome. This is a great conversation. I'm loving this. We still have our the best part coming up.
I'll say this last fucking point. Mm-hmm. I don't understand because Riot's response is so like, why? Okay, so the last point they made here, I think we're done with 300,000, right?
Yes.
Okay. The last point they made here is allow LCS orgs to partner with affiliates for cost sharing. And so Riot says, we've seen examples of partnerships between pro teams and tier 2 teams across the globe result in greater upward mobility of pros in more sustainable tier 2 ecosystems. That is why we already and will continue to allow affiliate relationships to exist between teams in LCS and NACL. For example, Golden Guardians and Area of Effect. Like, why the fuck is this even a demand? It already exists. Did they say they were going to get rid of it? If they did,
They
missed
must
that.
have. They must have said something.
But like, think about it. 100 Thieves, that's Nate Shot's team. That's owned by the Cleveland Cavaliers. Golden Guardians is owned by the fucking Golden State Warriors. CLG was owned by Madison Square Garden.
Right.
Like, these are affiliates that do help with the cost sharing, right? That's why Nate Shot actually makes decent money, other than being a clothing organization as opposed to a LCS team. Makes decent money. And doesn't have to shell out, doesn't feel like they're losing money by having an LCS team. But that doesn't change the fact that the LCS doesn't bring any money for those affiliates. So I don't know what point they're trying to make, because the sponsorships and the affiliates aren't going to stay if they're not making money. That's just
especially
the thing.
If the summer split doesn't happen.
Oh, they're hella getting out. Almost guarantee you the Warriors pull out.
Yeah, they're just burning money at that point.
Just throwing this part out there, the Warriors basketball GM, which has made them a lot of fucking money in the last 10 years, stepped down today. So they're probably already kind of frantically thinking like, oh shit, like what the fuck? And Joe Lacob is free with his money. I mean, he wants to buy the A's, for example. Just go back to that analogy. He's not an idiot. he's a smart businessman, and if this doesn't happen, that team's probably getting canned. 100 Thieves might get canned. And I don't know who else is owned by another affiliate or has a big investor from another
I'm sure
affiliate,
a few of them do. I just don't know off the top of my head.
Right. I'm almost positive they all do. Liquid and C9 probably not, but the rest of them, and TSM obviously isn't, but the rest of them probably have something,
It's funny because like this is the one they agreed to, right? Of all the 5 demands,
right.
Riot is like, okay, yeah, we're on board with this one, and this is the only one where they're like,
yeah, we do this already.
We do this because it makes us money. Like, of course we're gonna keep this.
Yeah.
If we have affiliates, we have sponsors and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So we come to the end of that. They have 2 weeks to figure out and negotiate. We're recording this on May 30th at it's 8 p.m. right now. So tomorrow when this airs,
it'll
things
probably
could
be different.
Some crazy shit could happen. Anything can be changed. If things do change, we'll probably just report on it. We won't do a full episode unless some crazy shit happens.
Right. Just bear in mind, you might not get your champion review this week.
Right. Some crazy shit could happen on Thursday or something. So keep in mind. But we'll be going on, updating and paying close attention to this. On the contrary, if you guys want to stay up to date, we're always talking about this in the Discord. Hit the link tree in the description wherever you're listening to right now. Come join the Discord, and we have our pro play section, and we're just talking about this. So
yeah.
So come hang out. But now we're on to the main event. 1 hour in. So to be honest, Tyler and I were like, oh, this is gonna be like 20 minutes, but I'm having a great time talking about this.
Right. I don't think originally I was thinking we'd go over the demands. I thought we were just going to gloss over that and then get to our fun part. But this part, we'll make a little thing where you can see the timestamp so you know where to catch it.
If you want to skip, yeah.
Because, I understand some of the LCS stuff can get a little monotonous if you're tired of hearing about it. So, totally understandable. This is the fun part, like Dean said. So, I'm going to let Dean kick us off.
Do you want me to? I think I have a lot more than you.
Okay. Well, yeah, I was going to say, okay, here. I will start. And so basically this is a resume or probably more like a cover letter or an audition tape maybe is even a better way to put it. But
sure.
These are the reasons Tyler, should make an LCS roster. And I'm going to give you, I'll go one, and then if we want to go back and forth, or if you want me to run through all of mine.
Yeah, let's do, well, you can run through all yours, and I'll run through all mine. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to turn my video off, so I'm going to be, your face is going to be front and center, so you're right in the middle.
In motherfucking center.
So you're right in the middle.
All right.
Let's hear it.
So, the reasons that I should make an LCS roster, and I'm going to start off with the first, and I think the most important thing. I'm a very team-oriented person. Oftentimes, I will sacrifice things for myself for the better of the team, and I think that's extremely important to an LCS roster. I will not sacrifice First Blood. I will always take First Blood if I can get it. Dean knows this. No, I'm kidding. As a support player, oftentimes it is my job to get my carry out. And if that means I have to die for my carry to get out, I will be the sacrificial lamb, as Quickshot likes to say. So I think that is one of the most important things. The other thing is I am very happy to look over VOD reviews and communicate with my teammates, my other players, my coaches. I would have no problem doing that and seeing where I can get better, and I would have no problem with constructive criticism. I think that is something that I take very well. So I think I would be a great teammate. Second, I main support. You need good support players. You need support players everywhere. I mean, everyone says support's easy. It's not as easy as you think it is. You catch a lot of flack. But I can play support, and you're probably not going to find a lot of players willing to play in this league that want to play support. Additionally, I can flex Lucian ADC if you need me to, or I can play Nico mid, but don't expect too much more out of that because I'm a support player, all right? Thirdly, I take the game seriously. You will not find me running it down when the tilt hits, okay? I can keep my teams engaged, and even when the outlook is bleak. Look, there's plenty of times where Dean wants to give up 10 minutes into the game, all right?
Shut the fuck up.
We've gone 30 minutes. I had to use that example because I know Purple's going to get a fucking kick out of it. We could be 30 minutes and be wiping the floor with the other team, okay? So sometimes it just takes hitting no on that surrender vote. And if I really want to, I can follow Purple's advice of never surrender. So that's a thing, and obviously on the LCS stage, you're not surrendering. So I ain't going to be running it down like M&S, okay? I'm not going to be running it down like Jace mid here, okay? I'm going to be here trying my damnedest even when the outlook looks bleak. Fourthly, I don't know if that's a word. Fourth, I co-host a podcast about League of Legends where we talk about champions and patch notes mostly. This displays my incredible knowledge and understanding of the game. Fifth, I'm a professional. I can provide work references who can corroborate this behavior as well. References, example, America's Tire, Macy's, Dean, Steven, and others. Sixth, I have a fiance. All right, so I will be focused on playing the game instead of chasing e-girls around Twitter, i.e. Fudge. You won't have that problem with me, okay? We keep it appropriate. Again, back to the professionality. And keep focused. And lastly, I peaked Gold 4 last year, alright? I don't know if you know the statistics on where everybody lies in the ranks, but Gold is above average, so you're getting a little bit of a good deal. I'll even take less than the 2,000 that Riot wants you to pay me, okay? It took me a lot of will and I mean a lot of Renata games last year. So I think I can provide a good round of support for your squad. And really, I think that should be enough. I think that's all you really need.
All right, what team are you shooting for? I know you said any, but
I mean, as a Bay Area person, a fan of the Warriors, I think Golden Guardians would be fun. I also think that let me pull up the teams again because I don't even remember who's in the league now. NRG actually would be kind of cool just because they're new. I don't know. I don't really want to play for Steve, and I don't think Cloud9 needs me. So I gotta say, Cloud9's coaches are probably wondering, who is this guy, and why am I watching your video? And I don't have a good answer. Cloud9's they've got it figured out, so I don't have a good answer for you guys. So, but I'd be happy to link up with NRG and just get in on the ground floor of that one, Keep me away from Dignitas, please. Please keep me away from Dignitas.
Yeah, you don't want to be on those
Baron throws, dude.
Yeah, oh Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I'm not Carrier stealing fucking barons and shit, so.
All right. Is that it?
That's it. That's all I got.
Wonderful resume. Wonderful. All right, let me bring myself back on screen here. Make sure I'm right in the middle. Let me do that. A little bit of this, a little bit of that.
A little bit of that.
All right. Mine's a little more memey, but I got a lot. If you guys look at my phone, I got a fat list.
I was trying to keep it kind of serious, but then have little meme jokes here and there, you know.
So I will. My first couple ones are serious, and then I have a whole bunch of other reasons why I'm a perfect fit to play for an LCS team.
Okay.
If the scabs were still being accepted. All right. So first of all, last split, I peaked at Plat 4. That is, I didn't actually look up that, but I believe that's like under 10% of the player base.
I think so.
Let me look at myself really quick on op.gg. I think it tells you the percentage. Ooh. It doesn't tell me a lot. Let me see. Hold on a second, guys. I was not ready for this one. Let's see. Yeah, let's just say like 20. I'm like 15 to 20% top players, whatever, fuck you. So that's pretty good. Secondly, I can play pretty much all meta champions. I know right now there's a lot of assassins with ghost play going on. That shit is getting nuked on the next patch, so rip. But I play a mean Sejuani, and I know tank junglers are always welcome. I will build force support. I will suck my ADC's dick to make sure that they are carrying. I will do whatever it takes to get that motherfucker fed. All right? Also, I can role swap. I play a mean Nasus. I've been watching Trick2G for about 8 years. I know the way of the gates. I can breach them hard. And I also... Hard. Yeah, I also, I can play a mean Sona too. If you don't mind me going, 0 and 20, but I'm going to be hitting Q, W, and E. And I can't miss, you can't miss point and clicks, right? You can't miss, you can miss her ulti, but I promise you I hit like 90% of those things. So if you guys need also Echoes of Helia, very OP item, so it's even better. I can play a mean Sona. And then my last serious one, I'm very reliable, and I'm very obedient. I listen to calls. I like people. I respect people's opinions. I like theory crafting. I like bringing what I have to the table to discuss game plans. And then all I ask in return is you don't fart in my face. I think that's pretty easy to negotiate. Just don't, crack a fart in my face, and we're good to go. I can't hear Tyler, so I don't know if he's laughing.
I'm sorry, I didn't want to interrupt your take, so I muted, but holy shit.
So, those were my serious ones.
That was a serious one?
Yes.
Oh, shit.
So, let's move on to... I labeled these extras, so here, I'm going to move my face down a little bit smaller again. So, some extra things that could potentially help me get on a team. Back in 2004, when Halo 2 came out, I beat the game on Legendary, which was pretty fucking hard. On the OG Xbox, Legendary was really difficult. I've completed all the Soulsborne games, from Demon Souls all the way to Elden Ring. I have 100% of all of those games. That's pretty impressive. I have a track for rolling my ankle. I don't know what that has to do with anything, but I mean, I'm sitting in a chair. I'm not walking around, but my ankle is fucking busted, dude. I guess this one's kind of a serious one. I have my priorities right. I'm engaged. I have a lady. Like Tyler said, I'm not running around chasing e-girls and looking at cam girls and stuff. Not that there's a problem. Girls, you do your thing. I live in California. Granted, I live about 6-7 hours away from LA, but I'm totally down to commute down there, especially if I'm making 2K a game. I will drive back and forth every fucking time. I'm 30. I'm going to be 31 in like a month and a half. So I'm perfect for temporary use. There's no fucking shot I could like be on a team for a long time. So I'm temporary. Perfect. I have no problem verbally getting shit on, so I could take all the Reddit chat, the probably the death threats I would get because I'm a donkey and I'm gold 4 right now. So I can take that. I don't know why I wrote this, but I said I'm ticklish. I don't know why, but I guess I'm ticklish. That's cool. I didn't go to college. I went to community college for a few semesters, but never went to college. So I guess I kind of fit into that pool of all the players that didn't go to school. I don't know. It sounded smart.
All right.
I really like Disneyland, and that's in LA. That's in Anaheim. So it's another incentive for me to drive down there and live down there. I will quit my job immediately for $2,000 a game. Okay? That you didn't tell me I had to win them.
That's fair.
And then last but maybe most important, I put the seat down every time I leave the bathroom.
Ooh.
That is a very,
That's
huge.
huge.
Rand says thank you all the time for me, because I think we've been there, or at least I've known a few people that, ladies, that it's just a respectful thing to do. Put the seat down. Yeah, they've probably fallen in.
Oh no.
Put the seat down. So yeah, that is it. Cloud9, hire me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh man, that was fun. That was fun, guys.
That was funny.
That is it. If you guys want to come into the Discord, we have a discussion thread. If you guys want to, obviously, like we said, the scab thing isn't happening anymore, but we have a thread going on. If you want to tell us why you think you would be a good option for these teams to hire you. So far, I'll just shout out Calientes here. He said he's bronze in EOS, which is basically masters in NA. That's completely true. EU is greater than NA. So, guys, come on over here and put your suggestions in here. But that will do it. Do you have anything else to close out our very long conversation with?
I think we've got it all. I don't have anything else. I just want you guys to have some fun. I am working on the next episode of Good Name, Bad Name. I'm just compiling a list, and I actually have to do the recording. I don't know when I'm going to have time to do that, but just keep an eye out. It's coming. I haven't forgotten. It's coming.
It's coming. So, guys, make sure to like. They're on their way. The pizzas are on their way. So make sure to like, comment, subscribe, rate, review, wherever you're listening or watching right now. Let us know in the comments which team, who do you think would get hired, me or Tyler, based on our resumes.
Ooh, that's a good. That's a good one. I like that.
Oh yeah, who do you think is, I'm ticklish, so so let us know who do you think would have the better opportunity of being hired. But yeah, guys, hit the link tree, check out all our social media, come join the Discord. I keep saying that, and we will be back tomorrow. It'll be patch time 13.11, and we got some nerfs on the way. So
yes, we do.
Good luck in your games, guys, and we will see you on the next one.
Later, guys.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure to like the video and sub to the channel if you haven't already. Click right here to see the previous episode of the According to Low Elo podcast. Click right here to see the most recent gameplay video. Thanks again.